Welcome to the Friendlyjordies Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. We've made some effort
New and improved.
this time around. Hopefully you like this set. If you don't, reserve your comments to yourself
Suck a lemon.
because I will cry.
Yeah, you were already very brutal, you 15% of people in the pre-poll that said that you didn't like it. I'm pretty sure you actually did like it. You just said no to be contrarian. But that was enough to make Ali very upset. He was very chirpy beforehand. He just came back from seeing Louis C.K. and you've completely ruined his mood. So that was a waste of $70.
You should all be ashamed of
This is
yourselves.
true.
Our very
Someone just
supportive
commented
fans.
they changed the set so they don't have to swap between two cameras. Thanks for reminding me. Here you go.
No, we don't have to, but we will.
And that is blurry.
And that is so blurry.
Do you want me to have a look at that?
Yeah, go
no,
back to that again. Let me just see that.
no,
That's-
I can,
Is
I,
it just Vaseline on the lens?
I can
Peak. That's,
fix that.
Yeah, that's Twin Peaks right there. Right there. That is man. I don't have to keep saying this, but I can't express how much I love this set. It's like
All right, that's the second angle.
now we're good.
And we forgot to set up
Man,
the
I
third
look even
angle.
more like Slappy the Dummy than I normally do. Come back. Can I just say this?
Slaffy, do it.
I'm back.
Everyone just bring
You miss me?
You are.
I'm Slappy the Dummy, aren't I? How did he get so interested in the Labour Party? It wasn't really part of like R.L. Stein's universe, was it?
He was getting driven to a shop and he fell off the truck and some tradie in Bankstown picked him up. It was like, "You're mine now."
Yeah. And it was a long drive back. And he was just being like, you know who built this? Labour. Labour's the one that did that.
exactly.
Hard Labour.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, stop touching the mic so often.
Sorry. I was trying to adjust. That was... Yeah, you're right. Look, it's gone.
It's teething.
Well, I just want to see how
Let's.
far. It's
so-
not bad.
it's
I
not
got to
bad.
say, I like the
I
arms.
love the arms.
And to think that they were just sitting in there the whole time while we were thinking like,
Years.
yeah, the poker table is what we should be prioritizing on a podcast where we had what, like 600 episodes where somebody was inaudible?
yeah. Dude, let's be honest. By the end, the poker table was more old fingernail clippings than poker table.
It always happens.
All right, let's start the first segment. There's some news, boys.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's...
There was an iceberg that is thawing
yeah.
thanks to Albo because
What?
Albo has secured a meeting with Xi Jinping. He's going to be meeting him at in Bali, I think.
Mm.
And this is a huge
This
change
is the
because
one piece of news I read in the last 6 months.
they've China has not been willing to speak to us. They're treating us like a little brother that they can, pretend to be upset by. But very much like all older brothers, they've come around because now they're bored, which basically means they need
What?
They need iron ore and coal at a much faster pace. So they're
And lobsters.
Like all older brothers need.
no, but like this is actually the development. The Australian thing isn't in isolation. German Chancellor just went to China to meet with Xi Jinping. Biden.
Why was
Has met
Germany
with
frosty
China?
with China?
Well, why do you think?
I don't know.
Because
What's going on there? I don't know anything about it. Every time I think about Germany, I just get a bit like, yeah, it sounds smelly.
let's just say
Fair.
a bald eagle has told them not to be friendly.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that what's happened?
Yeah, that's what happened with us too.
Yeah, I know that's what happened with us, but I thought that Germany had like maybe the two wars got some humility into them. Maybe I thought they just had more of a spine. I thought that they were one of those humanitarian companies. I thought there was just like a giant new town that has a funny accent.
If I'm being honest, the two wars have broken their spine. If anything. Think about it. The first war, they were like had all these funny ideas, and then what happened? They got the worst deal ever. They had to like come up with Hitler to like reset the balance, and then they fucked up again.
Hitler doesn't get enough appreciation for that.
They can't
really like, like how
Straight into
how
it.
doormat would Germany be now if this is how doormat they are now after Hitler? Can you imagine just a World War I post Germany? They weren't just this kind of thing of like, No, double or nothing. Fuck it. Let's go. Let's go again. Could you imagine?
That's what Second World War was.
They did.
It was, wasn't it?
Double or
It was a
nothing.
double or nothing.
And it was nothing.
Like all double or nothings. Always. Sports bet doesn't do that for things they think are a shoe-in.
Anyways, but the Biden met with Xi. So basically what's happening is, you know how Xi got reaffirmed for his third term? And so there was a lot of apprehensions as to like what this is going to look like. Most people guess that it's going to get more intense because now he's like a full-on dictator. But it seems at this point that he's actually trying to thaw relationships.
Who, Albo or Xi Jinping or both?
Both. Actually, Albo is a side piece in this. Biden and Xi Jinping are both trying to... Because Biden just came out, just today he made a statement. He was saying that the world depends on China and U.S. to work out their differences without... I can't remember the rest, but it was something like without blowing the world. So
well, that is a strange turn of events for US foreign policy after the last 60 years of trying to do exactly that. That's really strange. Like, I was talking to Biss about this morning. Don't you think it's really good having a man that remembers what Congress was like in the 60s? You know how everyone's always saying that, like, being like, oh, he's always just trying to get
Actually,
the Republicans to work.
I've got to stop you here. I don't think that man realizes what Congress was like yesterday.
Yeah, he's a bit hazy, but that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes he just walks in and he's just like, so sideburns are out. When did that seem like it happened overnight?
That was
Like,
very Fox News of you. And it's very sad. This is a man with a mental illness and people that are propping him up. That's where I'm going. We love Biden, but his puppeteers are horrible people.
He's not with us anymore.
Tune in to Fox later tonight for all our opens.
Anyway, so coming back to Australia, so the points that basically Albo is going to have to negotiate are, the first thing that he's going to ask
He said goodwill.
is that
Goodwill.
you stop putting a trade ban on our wheat,
Lobsters.
barley, wine, and lobsters.
Jesus,
and all
no
that
wonder we're
shit.
such a side act. These are like 50 BC products, aren't they? Like, we're still
Wine and
trading
lobsters
lobsters.
and
What the?
wine, yeah.
Come on.
Wine's like
yeah, the
number
wine's
two.
the high tech.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
our
yeah.
microchips.
Yeah.
Barossa Valley.
Yeah.
That's our Silicon Valley. That's
Not
so
bad.
sad.
They take other stuff from us, but they didn't put a ban on that.
Yeah, but what do they take from us that's high tech? Nothing. They just were just like,
minerals
beef is
count?
pretty good. We'll keep that.
Yeah, nothing high tech, bro. They are the ones that are producing high tech shit. We're taking that, but we're giving them coal and we're giving them iron ore to keep making those buildings. And we were giving them wine and barley and shit, but we're not doing that anymore. Anyway, so that's what Albo wants from him. But the more important question is, what does she want from us? And he wants a few things. Number one, he wants...
Whoopsie.
What the fuck did I do?
Oh, what are we offline?
No.
He just closed it.
No, we're good. He wants... So the
Do you want me to- I'll
Australian
just hold this.
Australian universities have done this tie-up with the Chinese government and Confucius
Say.
Department. there's like,
Is that a thing?
it's a thing. It's like Confucian. The Chinese government has spent a lot of money in trying to propagate its Confucius background. It's trying to derive its ideology from Confucian as opposed to some mainstream religion and shit. But anyway, so they've done these tie-ups with Australian universities where they've put in a lot of investment in our unis, and our universities have gladly taken it. But the intelligence community has raised concerns that this is just an infiltration process. So they send Chinese students who are basically on the payroll of the government to essentially be like sleeper cell operators.
So our intelligence agency believed
Not
the Clive
ours.
Palmer scare campaign.
U.S. intelligence agency, which was picked up by our intelligence agency and then picked up by Clive
I don't know if anyone's ever said this before, but the CIA seems a little paranoid.
Yeah, a little bit. But
Don't you think? Like, some 18-year-old, is this their big worry in life?
yeah, and also like you've got to realize nothing of substance happens at Australian universities.
I know.
We've all been there.
Hey.
And it's
that
a waste
climate
of time.
strike poster on the door says otherwise, all right? UNSW climate strike. You already
I know,
missed it?
UNSW with his like Cancer Research Institute. It's like, you're not curing that. Come on, just do what all the other smart unis did and just go into like cow husbandry.
Dude, UNSW, start small. Focus on why your Chinese food isn't that good. I had it.
Yeah. How do you
not
have so
that
many
good.
Chinese people there and it's like, okay.
It's not that good. It really wasn't that good.
Actually, if you go on Anzac Parade, there's some good places.
No,
there.
I'm talking about on campus.
Yeah, on campus. Anyway, that's all the point. But
I think it is the
I
point,
think that's
Ali.
the main
This
point.
is
That's
the
the
low-hanging
takeaway.
fruit because I think there could be a resolution made on that. However, this is the more intention. And according to most experts, this is the cause for Australian-Chinese rift. Most people will say it's that COVID sort of the origin COVID story that came from like a lab. That's what China made a big deal about. But I think they were more annoyed by this aspect, which is something that Malcolm Turnbull vetoed, the Huawei 5G network. I think that China was pissed off at us for doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make a big deal about it because it was happening everywhere in the world. And then as soon as that COVID conspiracy stuff started happening, they were like, that shit, enough of it. But I think they were more pissed off about 5G. So that's the one that Albo, they might bring up again. And Albo, I don't think, has any option but to say no to that because the overlords, the bald eagle, will swoop in, pick him up, and throw him somewhere else. And Barnaby Joyce will be our new prime minister if that happens.
Do you think? Because I don't know, man. It seems like Biden's pretty cool with anything, it seems.
Not that. And
Deep state stuff.
CIA,
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah. You always forget about them. They're good at hiding, those bunch, aren't they?
And there was.
Have you ever heard this before?
9/11 was
This
an
goes,
inside job.
Yeah. And why? Because there's things going on in the government that are a little deeper than the president.
Oh, shit.
All right?
Nah, it can't be true.
So you can just shove your Bali meetings up your ass, okay? You're not talking about the real issues. And I'm touching the mic too much again. Sorry.
He's fine to keep moving.
But
you
is
don't
it
have the
moving? Yeah,
headphones
it's
on.
crouching around. Sorry about that. It's just nice to have something to fiddle with.
move.
Maybe I can just play around with this unfiltered hoodus life of Spaniard.
And Jordan, lastly, this is another big one, is that there might be a request by the Bold Eagle for us to renegotiate the Darwin port lease. And I think Albo will have to make a decision on that.
Wait, what's that about?
So
Darwin, like the-
Darwin port was basically
Sold.
leased, not sold, leased.
Oh.
Same thing, come on.
For like a long ass time, like 99 year, I think. So
What is this like same tactic of like when you go to Chemist Warehouse and they're just like, nose clippers only $9.95. Like we know what 99 years is. Just say 100. Like
Yeah.
is this fooling
They
anyone?
did that with Hong Kong as well.
What?
I was onto that, not the Chinese.
What happened?
There was like a 99-year lease for Hong Kong with the British.
Oh, with the and now they've turned the tables
Well,
on
now
us.
it's
Well, we didn't
changed.
do
Let's
anything.
just call it 100. Like that would have talked about softening relations. If you just made it a nice clean number.
I think Albo's going to have a pretty successful meeting.
But here's the thing: not only is he going to have a successful meeting, he already had a meeting with. I think he's the deputy premier of China, Li Kuang something. He's like their number 2 essentially, and he already had a meeting with Albo. And this is something which I think is very, it's good news. He said that we're willing to meet Australia halfway.
Hell yeah.
Which means I think
Huawei.
even if they're not, I think like there is room for basically, as Penny Wong calls it, stabilization of the relationship, because there are obviously deep, long-term issues that both countries have. Like for example, China wants American Navy to get out of Asia Pacific, and we're not gonna agree to that because we've already made our bets and we're siding with the US on that. So they're like these big issues, which I think China would be willing to let go, but the relationship can get stabilized for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Here's the big question, though. Is there any point with our Prime Minister meeting? Should he even be there, or is he just going for like the free hotel?
No,
No,
100%.
it's worth it.
It's
It's worth
definitely
it.
worth
Well,
it.
it
Big
just
trade.
sounds like it's just like everything's just getting negotiated by the US and China.
Yeah, but it's a good.
So
it's
why
a,
does it bother with us?
a
Like,
good-
we're the secretary.
Nah, but it's a good show of face. Like, dude, Albo's catchphrase to this was, "I'm going there, and I want to go in with goodwill." Can you imagine Scott Morrison saying, "I'm going to meet the Chinese president with goodwill"?
I stand corrected. I
Never
can't.
That would
Yeah.
never, ever. He all he did was he wrote via email, we want a UN inquiry into where happened with COVID, which, you know, not a bad idea, but maybe don't ask the UN on your behalf. It's so, like, it's just dumb. It's dumb bilateral, you know, like, policy. The idea of him going in with goodwill, war's over. We're not going to, no one's going to get nuked now. Thank you very much,
Actually,
Albo.
Penny Wong makes the same argument. She said that part of the reason why our relationship got screwed over with China is, yes, there are certain long-term strategic issues that are bipartisan, but there was a lot of stupid nationalistic chest thumping that was completely unrequired.
It's not even that. It's just bad. It's like shirt fronting policy. It's just like being like, fuck you. It's like, goodwill isn't radical. To have goodwill with a country on an international stage is like, that used to be like normal policy, like sensible.
It's really weird that like I feel like, Ale, do you agree with this? Do you feel like, and I do really accredit Joe Biden with this because he is kind of the emperor of the world, I guess, but don't you feel like things have there is sort of a great reset in that it felt like the world just got a bit too insane. Yeah. And I'm not just saying this was just Trump. It was also through the Obama years and the Bush years. It was those three guys. I feel like things just got like overheated across the planet on like needless conflict.
Yeah.
And it feels like everything's just smoothing out.
All these people now, like centrists are just being like, you know, the risotto's overcooking, add some more water. You know?
Yeah. And that's the big move now.
Well, it is. It's like revolutionary.
Yeah, I like it. I honestly think that. Like, that's what I was saying about Joe Biden. I think it's just he remembers a time where government functioned properly in the US. It's the same thing when you go to the UK and it's like everything. You're just like, why the fuck are all the roads so cracked in both countries? And it's just because everything just stopped getting built in the 70s. Yeah. And I think he just remembers then. And I think it's actually really bad that you have a bunch of presidents who are like, I was a senator for one term and now I'm president. Yeah, I was governor for one term and now I'm president. I wasn't anything and now I'm president. Like, maybe that's not the best people to be in charge.
Is it Chucky Doo-Doo?
Yeah, Shucky Ducky. That guy was almost president.
He's dead.
Yeah, and now he's dead. Where did that get him?
But now he's
Where's your Shucky Ducky now? And then you go to his grave and he's just got like a speaker there just being like, Shucky Ducky. There it is.
That was a bad example.
Now we've got Herschel Walker.
Yeah, now we got Herschel Walker, and I do support him being president for 2024, obviously. Like, look, I'm only human. Like,
we'll get to Herschel Walker, but just on that point, things mellowing out, there's one mega event that's happened recently that has brought the temperature down.
The Ukraine war.
Yeah, the Ukraine war.
Yeah.
Because the buildup was there's inevitable clash between China and the U.S. It's most likely going to be in Taiwan. Maybe it's in the South China Sea. But no one just expected Putin to march like it was fucking 1939 and it was going to Poland or across Ukraine. And maybe there was an expectation that he might march, but the way it turned out was that it was not beneficial for any side. And so I think China looks at that and goes, okay, even if we want to do something similar for Taiwan, maybe now is not the right time to do it. And if now is not the right time to take over Taiwan, then why are we like not getting wine from Australia? Meanwhile, let's get that shit going. And then when we're ready for a war, then we'll get to it. And I think so that's also sort of mellowed the temperature down a little bit.
Yeah.
Things got like pretty intense. I think China was like, obviously they never liked Putin doing the invasion of Ukraine. But I think like even for them, that whole idea that Putin was getting cornered to like maybe using tactical nuclear weapons was a bit too much for China. And so I think even at that point, China would have told Russia privately, like, no nuclear bombs. Like, definitely not this. So I think this has brought the temperature down a little bit. And obviously the world is going towards a really stressful time, not just geopolitics, but also economically. And so I think this is just the right time to maybe stabilize things and then these exact issues that we have, they're not going anywhere. It's just gonna get mellowed out for a few years, and then when the economy is booming again, and China feels that its navy has improved, then we might see these same issues occur again. But for now,
Well, it's better than nothing.
yeah, better than nothing. Definitely.
Better than nothing. It really is. I don't know. Everyone was so like, it's time for change in the White House. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe we should just freeze frame in the 90s and Serbia just takes one for the team.
What?
You know? Well, I was just thinking about that war today.
Well, the Serbian war.
How unfair was that? And I'm saying that as a Croat. Come on. It was the entire world versus Serbia.
No comment.
You can sit this one out. That's fine.
But dude, have you ever met a Serbian and taken their honest opinion on this?
Yeah, every time it's always like, it was better in Yugoslavia.
They're like, dude, there was this one girl, this was like undergrad uni days. She was Serbian. And you know how unis are, right? They just choose a topic and then they like choose one side and their entire curriculum is about, so like the Rwandan genocide. Every uni kid knows Tutsis are bad, Hutus were horrible, they committed the genocide. And well, that's true, but there's also nuances to that argument. Same thing with Serbia. Everyone's just like shitting on Serbia throughout uni. If you're a Serbian student, you are getting hammered every day in every class. And this chick got up.
What have you got to say for yourself?
This chick got up and she was like, "Enough! I'm not saying Serbia is innocent and they're 100% correct. However, you must understand, we are not stupid. We had our reasons."
Sit down, lady.
That's what everyone started saying, and I was the only one saying, "Hey, let's hear her out."
Oh, man.
Finally, we're getting some diversity of opinion here.
Jesus, and I thought Louis C.K. got some harsh heckles. That's bad. The entire audience turned on her.
Well, first you've got to tell him. Okay. Let's move on to that segment now. The reason why we started this live stream at 10 p.m. instead of 7:30 p.m. is because we had bought Miss Love had asked us to buy tickets to Louis C.K.'s stand-up show,
Which I'm sure he's going to reimburse us for. Yeah.
which he better reimburse me for.
How much was it? $10? I'll give you 15.
70. Not cheaper tickets compared to the others. However, we just came back from the stand-up, and I think now is your cue. Jordan, what were you saying?
Well, yeah, we just came back from the stand-up and he got heckled. And
He got heckled.
what else? What else can I add?
It was the most Aussie heckle ever. Is there anything more Australian than what just happened at that show?
Well, actually, okay, yeah, right. So Louis C.K. was just saying, see, this is the really unfair thing that US comics have over the rest of the world, which is that we know what Brooklyn Jews are like. We shouldn't know that. We shouldn't know where the fuck Brooklyn is.
I've been there.
I know you've been there, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like me just going to the United States and be like, so I was in Petersham the other day, right? And you know how Turks are there? It's like, no.
Portuguese.
No, I don't. Yeah, Portuguese, right? Like, it's just...
Are you even Australian? No, I'm
it's they're so dominant, right? Like, but anyway, some Aussie got up and pulled that Serbian chick move. He's had enough. It was just like, this isn't America, mate. And then everybody started booing him, obviously.
Yeah, well, just a little bit more context. So
even though what he said was 100% accurate.
Yeah, Louis had just brought up Roe versus Wade, and he had just introduced that, and then this guy gets up and he's like, "Enough of this shit, you're in Australia."
Yeah.
And then Louis C.K.
Which really does put the Roe versus Wade argument in perspective.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of right. It's just like, why is anyone talking about
He was
that
pissed
here?
off, like, how have you come here and not mention how you said about Shane Warne dying 2 years ago? Not
thought he was
once
seeing
you
Carl
mentioned
Barrett.
it. You go straight into this abortion shit, which doesn't even apply to us.
Here I have been sitting here wondering if you thought that Love Island's gone a bit downhill in its friends.
You're not a Penrith RSL, bud.
But then,
So you were into it because you are a weeb for America.
Well,
You're not sure if you live in Australia or not.
It'd be kind of strange if he comes out and he is just like, so Petersham, right? I was having, it's like, That can't be the whole set.
Yeah, he can't. Like, he's been here for 3 days.
He's
You got to give him
American.
some slack.
He's
But
American.
the thing is, what I'm saying is, all right, look, how unfair is it that Louis C.K., their best export, gets to go here and gets to do his entire set talking about niche American politics subjects like their stances on abortion state by state. And then Dave Hughes goes there and he's just like, I bombed the whole time. And they were just like, and then someone
unfair.
comes up to me afterwards and said, how do you talk like that the whole time? And that's all he gets. He just gets 200 perplexed Texans.
It is unfair.
But you have to also mention how that Aussie dude came up with the best burn that any comedian could ever face. Like, it ruined his night, 100%.
Yeah, and you know it did because you could see Louis C.K. sitting there and he didn't have anything to say for a few seconds afterwards, which if you're a peppered comedian like he is, I mean, that man was globally cancelled. Like, he's dealt with pressure before in his life, but you can tell that this has to be the most insulting thing that you can ever say to a comedian ever, which is you're average.
Yeah, not that you suck or you're bad, but you're average.
That's
Which means,
Average
I know
is
what you're trying to do,
but you're not doing it well.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've seen this dance before, and then leaves, and he gets booed. And I got to say, like, who's really the courageous one in this situation? Most of the time, when you think about a heckler, you're always just like, yeah, shut up. Wow, that guy's so brave. He's standing up on stage and he's just talking back to him, right? To do that like Louis C.K. as famous as Michael Jackson.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of up there, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine just coming up to somebody who's, you know, like top 10 most famous people on earth, like Pope Francis or something, and being like, Pope Benedict XVI was better than you, mate. Like, it takes some guts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, but also this happened maybe 8 minutes into the show. Yeah. And then he says, you're an average comedian, and then just walks out. He meant it.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a troll.
No.
He was a reviewer.
Yes. Yeah. And then he was out. And so I honestly think you're right, Ali. I think Louis C.K. will be thinking about that tonight, being
that's
like, average.
So
She know
much
who I am.
worse than saying you're a shit comedian. You're an average comedian.
Yeah. I felt for him at that point. And I think the audience did as well, because afterwards, when you left, everybody was talking about that heckle exchange. And I don't know if that's kind of the same thing as just when you're in year 7 and then two people say they're going to fight after school. There's just a bit of aggression in the air.
Yeah, but like, what do you think about the fact that after a Louis C.K. stand-up, people were talking about a heckle?
See, that's what I'm
That's
wondering.
not a good sign.
Is it a good sign, or is it just that, you know, we're apes and someone chucked a rock at another ape and then everyone goes, maybe that's what's happening. I don't know.
The show wasn't bad. Dare I say it was average.
Oh.
But
So
it
you're
wasn't bad.
on side with the heckler.
No, because I wouldn't walk out and get offended. I did genuinely enjoy the show. And the tickets were cheap, which Louis C.K. deserves credit for, because these guys that come from the US, they just charge you a killing. And
Yeah, only $200.
only 200. So Louis C.K.'s tickets were $70, which is pretty decent, I think. But yeah, I don't regret the show at all. The show was nice. It was much better than Chris Rock, dude. You should have gone to that. Like, I like Chris Rock, and I was like, that was an underwhelming performance.
You don't see comedians when they... How old? I suppose actually it's probably the same age as fucking Louis.
Yeah. But I feel like if you're Louis C.K., if you're like in the top 10 comics of the world, like, people should just come out and say, fuck, that was funny. That was one of the best shows ever. They shouldn't be talking about a heckle that happened maybe 15 minutes prior to them coming out.
That's true, but also you've kind of put your finger on the pulse inadvertently about the curse of being Louis C.K., which is that everyone's going to come to your show and then they're always going to walk out and say, I liked his bag of dicks thing better than his clay dicks. And then they're going to go home and they'll come to your next show afterwards, but you're never going to hit that same peak. I suppose just being famous and the allure of it is a bit like being a heroin addict. You get your one hit, that was great, and then for the rest of your life, you're just like, yes.
This is my take on...
That's what I think's happening.
This is my take on why his performance was the way it was. I think ever since he got canceled, he's gotten into this frame of mind. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck everyone. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. And that's a good thing. I mean, you don't want to censor yourself or filter yourself, but there was too much shock and awe in the show as opposed to a well-crafted joke. You know, like his observations.
No, it was
were top-tier comic observations.
Yeah.
Mere mortals don't have those kinds of observations, so he definitely deserves credit for that. But at the same time, I think he was too focused on, I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck I want. If I want to talk about fucking kids, I'm going to talk about that. But it's like, yeah, you can talk about fucking kids, bro. But like, the joke.
In fact, I implore you to.
Yeah, in fact, I implore you to. But the joke needs to like really justify it. That package was missing.
Yeah, look, I think you're kind of right. The way to say it is this was Louis C.K., the stand-up equivalent of not the first Gulf War, but the second one. Don't you think? No tactical strikes there.
I'm learning.
You're a bit too young to remember the first one, miss. That 3 months of me being alive more than you really gave me the edge. I remember it.
I actually
the Berlin Wall was great. You should have seen it. I remember that concert. Now, see, there's something that Louis C.K. could learn from: the showmanship of David Hasselhoff.
He didn't have a fucking jacket that lit up. Check that out.
And wouldn't that have made the show better?
Would have.
Well, as you showed on Tame Impala, like you can have as many lights as you like. It's not going to help.
Even though Miss Love was the one who implored us to go to this show, and told me to get tickets and everything, he wasn't even sitting next to us. He just fucked off.
Yes, he
did.
fucked off.
Yes, I did.
And so it was like a part of the reason I was like, why is Miss Love not here? He just went and never came back.
Sorry. Whoopsie. No, I saw the show. I had my reasons.
That he's not going to say publicly.
No, that I'm not going to say publicly, but
let me just rest assured, he was justified in it. But
yeah.
there also was just a thing the whole time of like, is he taking a shit? Like, what,
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, well, you just went and then just moved out. It was just like, okay, well. And that was the last I ever saw of him. Yeah. That was it. Like,
if you
want to, you just walked out, and then one of the warm-up acts was just like, "Sure, you like the first warm-up act better, huh?" Yeah, and just stabbed you, and that was the end of it. That was it.
And if you want to know the details,
Gangs of New York.
if you want to know the details of why Miss Love had to walk out, it is going to be funny and juicy.
Yeah.
You'll have to sign up for the uplink
There
because
you
we
go.
can't talk about it here.
no.
Because
But I will say
But just
this.
know, as always, Miss Love Nomics pans out. All of you
can
bit
I-
bros thinking that your Bitcoin's the way to invest in.
Can I mention that though? Come on, I can mention that.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll say why, but like the funniest part where it's just like, it's just one of those ridiculous things where it's just like, yeah, it all pans out. So I was standing and watching, and then talked to one of the ushers and was like, yeah, blah, blah, explain. And he was just like, follow me. And then proceeded to walk me to the best seat in the house.
I know, like the seats that if it was an R. Kelly concert, he would have been pissed on.
He literally, I was 4 rows behind, staring at Louis C.K. He's right in front of me, like to the point where I had to slouch down. I'm like, he's going to calm me out. He's right in front of me. I don't want to be called out. So, it all works out in the end.
Now, up close, how old does he look?
He looks pretty good, I got to say. I think he's lost weight.
he's lost weight.
He's lost
Yeah,
weight.
he's lost
He looks
weight.
good.
He looked good.
He looked good?
Best I've seen him.
I mean,
You can't say Louis C.K. looks good.
He looks good.
I mean, he doesn't look good, but he looks better than what he looked before.
Look, see, the whole thing was, to me, it was just indistinguishable from that Doughboy mascot. We were so far back, so all you kind of saw was this kind of like pale blob.
That actually worked for me too because I didn't bring my glasses. So it was very, very blurry at the back. I was like, huh?
Okay, so like up close, you were just like, wow, he looks like Fabio. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
okay,
was
yeah.
like, he's a dreamboat.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why you think he looks good.
No, he
'Cause
did.
To you, he looks like, just put it to camera 2. That's Miss Love's vision. At 4th row.
Stop it! We just came. We walked in. I couldn't set the cameras.
Miss Cam.
The
Well,
third
Miss Cam.
the third cam is missing.
Yeah, well,
We forgot to put
Miss
that
Cam
in.
works.
Now,
Finally,
Miss Cam is 3 because it's missing.
finally, the audience can see what I see. You'll see what I see. Defile who I defile. But no, yeah, I agree with you though that the set was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't his best, but it wasn't bad. It was. I don't know. It was good.
It was decent.
But there's something. I think that I'm just a. I was talking to Jordan about this before. Like, I think I'm just a massive bogan because I laughed way harder when we saw I just forgot his name. Dave Hughes at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I laughed way harder. Like, I was
but of
dying.
course you
I was
are.
dying. I was just like, I was dying.
Yeah, but that's because he can talk about The Masked Singer.
It's just the related, but that makes me a bogan, I feel like, right?
I don't think that makes you a bogan. I think that's why everyone's always saying to me, for instance, they're like, oh, you have so many Australian references. And it's like, good.
Well,
I like reminding people, yeah, you're on this continent.
Dude.
It's a pretty big country where we are.
I will pay that.
I mean,
Don't you think? Like, and I hate the fact that there's so little cultural
Yes,
references
I
in
agree.
Australia as well.
Yes, and that was by design, right? By Howard.
Yeah, it was by Howard. He killed it all. And I just honestly wish that there was more Australian shows that I could pay out, because I think that that's honestly the height of comedy is just like a big
relatable.
reason why Bill Burr is really funny, I think, is because he's always just talking about things that he saw on TV. I like that kind of humor a lot more than the endless onslaught of like, what happened to all the penises they cut off the transgenders? It's just like, it's such an American thing to think about. And also just
Relatability.
like, yeah, dude, like, it's not that like, I'm like, oh my God, penises. It's just like, yeah, after all, it's like, yes, yeah, penis, yes.
I don't know. I saw you. You did go, oh my God. And then you went to
Yeah.
And you went, penises. And then I was just like, and then I touched you on the shoulder and I said, it's going to be okay, Jordan. They're not, it's just a joke. And then you started wetting, wetting your back.
Yeah, like, you didn't have to tell them that.
Sorry,
I was trying, okay, look. We all have our moments.
Yeah, we all have our fears.
Look, it was my mistake. I should have gone before.
Miss, I've got a question for you. If, like, you know how you were sitting so close to Louis C.K.? If he
ridiculous that happened to me, right?
Like,
ridiculous.
If he invited you backstage and said, "Can I jerk off in front of you?" Would you say yes? What would you do?
I would, but that's just me.
Well,
It's not just you. I'd do the same.
I'd do the same.
Of
I'd be
course.
like, "Thank
I'm
you."
not
I was
condoning
hoping
You know what's incredible though? Going to that show, didn't you feel like you were walking into a porno theater in the 80s? It was just a bunch of seedy guys, and we all had that look of shame in our eyes of like, yeah, we're going to see this.
Yeah.
Something a bit dirty about going to a Louis C.K. show.
Yes. It was old school.
Don't you think
vibes,
if everyone felt like a little bit of shame walking in?
Yeah, a little bit like that. Just kind of like, well, you know.
No one wanted to make eye contact. And there was a lot of people that recognized me there, and very few came up, and I am glad they didn't.
Dude, there was this
Not
one
many came
guy,
up.
George, you were facing me. This was when I just gotten Miss Loves Beers or whatever, and then there was a guy right behind you, and I saw him noticing you, and he came right up to you, and he literally almost tapped your shoulder, and then decided to backtrack, and he just took it off and then went away.
Keanu Reeves.
He made the right choice.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have come up. Like, what are we going to talk about here? Like, it's the same thing. It's just like, dude, if I'm walking into an adult store and someone goes like, oh, Friendlyjordies, yeah, big fan. I like that stuff you did with John Barrow. I'm trying to buy a dildo. Fuck off. Like,
But why are you like? I'm a little offended for Louis C.K. Why is it wasn't a porn show? It was a stand-up comedy show by one of the most famous people on earth.
Well, this is I think now I finally do get the whole argument about like, stop kink shaming me. I think that's how the freaks of the world feel now.
Right.
I think I have the same feeling. It's just like, there shouldn't be anything wrong with going to a Louis C.K. There shouldn't be anything wrong with going to a Bill Cosby show, because as we all know, Bill Cosby did nothing wrong, right? But like, as but you know what I'm saying though, right? Like you should just. I don't feel like I would have felt like that going to a Michael Jackson concert, even though we all know what happened there. But I don't know, for some reason, Louis C.K. doesn't. What?
There's a difference here. We don't.
Because he never admitted to it like Louis did.
And he also, like, you know, he was exonerated in court and everything. But with Louis, I think it's the same thing. You know how sometimes, like, you'll walk into the bathroom and then you'll see, oh, shit, my auntie's on the pot or whatever, right? And you're like, oh, shit, and you walk away, and then you can never really look at them the same way again.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happened to Louis, which is like, everyone's like,
Yeah.
everyone on earth knows what his kink is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It's a bit of that. It's a bit of that.
And you kind of just like, I don't want to know that.
But it was really strange because his entire life is just sitting. Most of his jokes are him explaining uncomfortable sexual situations he's been in his life.
Yeah, but we never knew. For like before this entire Louis C.K. New York Times story came out, I had seen so many of his like. I'm a huge fan, right? So I had seen all of his Opie and Anthony performances. Everything.
Yes, the golden years
that he had ever done, and I knew already that he jerks off in front of people because he used to say it.
Yeah,
but it didn't make a difference because we were like, oh, he might be joking. He might be, but now we know. Oh, he wasn't joking.
But I don't even think it's. I don't even think it's that. I honestly think it's just that there's that one Guardian article being like, "Oh my God, he's sold out." Think about all of the thick freaks that are going to that show. Just knowing that someone else thinks that, you're kind of just like, "Hey, I've got my own secrets," you know.
It's like, don't judge me. I like comedy. What can I say?
It felt like that. I swear to God. There was something a bit X-rated about going to Louis C.K. Yeah. But having said that, like, dude, I honestly think, like, dude, I like the guy. Like, I honestly think he's like a very thoughtful, sensitive, sweet man.
Yeah, he is, and he's also, dude. Even though I just said that his show was average, he's also a comedic genius. Like his observations, you can really tell the difference between a normal comedian and one of the best comedians.
I feel like
he thinks
Sorry
differently.
Was really
his
good.
tangents were different. I can't think of many comedians that would have come up with the same exact observations that he did.
That's definitely true. Look, as much as we were ragging on the fact that it was all shock and awe, at least it was a pure Louis C.K. presents the Second Gulf War.
Yes,
You know? It had its own Donald Rumsfeld flavor to it.
All right, let's switch some gears. Let's go.
The metaphor's lost to me, but I think I know where you're going with it.
Let's go to a different.
That's lost me as well.
Jordan. So, as you know, for the last 3 weeks, I was obsessed with the cricket. So I had ignored everything that was happening.
You know what I got to say? Like in that last 3 weeks, I was just like, "Who is this man?"
Yeah, I know.
Like I just don't get it.
As soon as we lost the final, half an hour later, I was like into the whole midterms. But by that point, the midterms had already happened, and it was 4 days late. So now you have to tell me. So I've just gotten into the midterms.
Hell yeah.
And I found out, this is what the news is reporting, that the biggest loser is Donald Trump. Do you think that's true?
Yes and no.
So for those of you who might not know, because, you know, you are Australians,
Yeah.
very much like that guy who got
I'm
angry.
sick to death of people talking about America all the
Yes.
time. Now, what happened in Nevada? Let's get into this.
Arizona.
Yeah, well, the governor's race is, I think it was just called.
We're hypocrites.
So midterms, the Republicans were expected to win. There was supposed to be a red wave, and it turns out that the Democrats won the Senate. However, I think the Republicans have won the House, right?
Maybe, most likely they've won the House. I sincerely hope they don't because I put quite a lot of money on sports bet that they wouldn't. But
I thought you went all in on the Dems.
I went all in on the Dems.
But that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Dems
but House
to win.
and Senate, he went.
Well, no. I thought that they were going to win the House and the Senate, and got to say, good call by me. I would like to announce my official retirement from podcasting and YouTubing. I'm going to become a professional slot jockey.
Fuck yeah.
It gets better returns
Teach
than
me
the
your
stock
ways.
market. I'll tell you, this is the only thing that got me through it was just like, well, Michael Moore said it,
That was
and he
it.
called Trump, so...
That's enough.
And he's pretty right. He was on the money. And then also, it was just as soon as I saw that there was like huge turnout in Georgia, I thought, yeah, the Democrats are going to have a good night. You can't have a lot of people going to the ballots and not voting for the Democrats.
Wait a sec. So the Dems will get the Senate
Yep.
and the House. Don't know yet.
Don't know about the House.
But it's most likely going to be Republicans.
Most likely going to be
Right.
Republicans. However, there are still many tight races to be called in California. California is,
What?
they call it election season in California because of how long it takes to count.
Really? California's blue as shit.
Yeah. But this is the whole thing. This is why
There's
they...
certain parts
this
of
is-
California that are actually red.
Big
Yeah.
sure.
But the reason, Ale, you wanted to know, and you will get answers. The reason that this happens, and then you have all of the red states called, is because all old people are just like, put on their calendar, just being like, just 4 more years before I can kick out the goddamn Democrats.
Right, yeah.
They're waiting for it, and they've got nothing else to wait for.
Yeah.
I mean, how much fucking golf can you play? Like, you can do one day without it, right? Or at least half a day.
Yeah.
So they're going to go on election day because they've got nothing else. But, like, here's the thing. Like, most single mums are just like, huh? No election? Holy fuck, man. Like, they can't remember. So, like, if you are mailing out ballots and saying you can vote via mail, it's going to preference the Democrats to it.
Dems always, and
They usually win the mail-in.
The mail, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's how
we all know the Postal Service is the choice of Zoomers. They love Australia Post.
Actually, that's how I made a fair bit of money on the Joe Biden v. Trump election, because I think I figured out something that Sportsbet didn't, which is that postal votes favor Democrats. I
love that. I love that Sportsbet is just so dumb that all they think about is like horse racing, footy. And so that they just look at polls and they think, like, yeah, it's a shoo-in for the Republicans. That's all they've got to go for. Murdoch hasn't steered us wrong in the past. Yeah. Half his paper's just slot jockey.
I remember like Sportsbet, and this was a dumb move by them, but I remember the odds were like pretty even between Trump and Biden. And then the first election results just started coming in, and they were neck and neck, but Trump was winning. And
so it immediately went to 2-1.
Immediately, the odds skyrocketed for Trump winning. And I was like, but there's no postal votes counted. Idiots. And then as soon as that happened, I was like, money on Biden. And we won that. And I was so happy that we beat the system.
Fuck, I hope no one from the TAB listens to this podcast. Like, we really are giving away a lot of secrets here.
Yeah. This is all a joke. This is satire. Just in case.
No, I did make that.
Yeah, don't listen to us. It's not like we make our living off of analysing politics. So just keep it on the wraps.
What's with the
I'll tell you what.
Every media outlet was saying that Trump is the biggest loser in this, and then I found out that apparently they're saying that because
nice catch. Fucking no wonder he likes cricket.
We still lost. But the reason why they were saying that Trump is the biggest loser is because Trump had mentioned how he hates that. So everyone just kept doing it. So my question is he actually the biggest loser, or why is he the loser? First of all, it was really neck and neck anyways.
Because apparently he got like all the Republican candidates he put forward were like each more hilarious than the last. Dr. Oz.
Okay, I was gonna
Herschel Walker, and apparently
he's further up the list.
Yeah, but apparently
I'm gonna get onto Dr. Oz as well because I want to know more details about that. But let's first start with Herschel Walker. This is all I know about Herschel Walker. I saw one of his speeches, and he was saying some batshit crazy stuff. He was saying like, when you're when you're going through a pile of shit, right? There's a lot of horse manure,
donkey
manure, and you're scooping it out, People are gonna be like, this sucks, but sometimes there's a pony at the end of that horse manure, and boys, I'm saying that there's a pony here.
I'm sure that you were making an interpretation of that and cleaning it up, and even then it's insane.
This is exactly what he said. Horse manure, pony, digging, all of this is by him. And I was thinking, who the fuck is this man, and why is he allowed to run for elections?
Because he was good at football.
Oh, so he's a footy player.
Yes.
So what did he? First of all, did he win? I hope he won.
No, he's going to the runoffs, which he doesn't even call runoffs because he's from football. He calls it overtime. But that was the greatest analogy of like, I can't say it because of my skin color, but you all know that old, when Chris Rock used to be good, right? Like the old joke that he used to make dividing black people up. That is the Georgia runoffs. The Democrat guy is some boring dude with glasses, bald head, sitting there just being like, it would be an embarrassment for this fine state to have somebody who has not the integrity or the vision to get us out of our slumps when it comes to the black community. And then everyone's just kind of politely clapping in the background. No cheering at all. Like a really boring, who are you candidate, right? And then comes to Herschel Walker, and nothing that he's saying makes any sense at all, but the entire audience is just cheering like it's a Trump rally.
Why did
He's so good. He's so funny.
But why did he lose then?
It's very close.
Because it's like
49%
like,
to 49%.
it's just
neck
like,
and neck.
yeah, look. And also the other thing is Georgia's doing pretty well for the Democrats in general. Like it's trending that way. But I think that's pretty much it. That's the only thing that just got him over the line. I think he's going to lose when it comes to the next one because now Republicans are going to sit there and think, oh, well, if we've lost the House anyway, I'm not going to vote for this embarrassment, which will be all like the old whites. They're not going to vote for him anymore. And it's just going to be all of those ATL rappers that I used to like when I was 18 that are just going to be like, yeah, Herschel. They're going to be voting for him.
I really hope he won because I just saw that once. We was like, this guy has to win. He's not even the
So
president.
good. He's got so much flavor.
We can risk it with this little seat. You know, it's fine. He's entertaining. We need him. Okay, now, secondly, do you know the guy, the governor of Massachusetts?
The hot one.
No, he is the most boring man ever, and he won. He comes out. He looks like a really old, uncharismatic Chomsky, and he's just on the thing. And this was his victory speech. Again, I'm not kidding. He just goes, "Boring wins."
That wasn't Massachusetts, but yeah.
What was it?
It was like
Wisconsin.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Wisconsin. No, man.
Oh, was it Wisconsin?
yeah.
Wisconsin,
He was like,
yeah.
boring has won, and everyone's like, yeah.
Because this is the
But
really...
even the yeah was like really subdued. It was like yeah.
But I love that. I love seeing that. I'm like, that's good. Make it boring again. We got to make politics boring again. It's not
Nah, we
supposed
need Herschel Walker.
You
man.
call me a man of extremes, miss. You like that candidate
Yeah.
and you like Herschel Walker.
Well, one's north, one's south. It's all about yin and yang, you know?
It is. It's definitely that. And you can have both of this in it. Why not? The thing is, that's really interesting about Wisconsin. And this is a point that I don't think... Actually, MSNBC has been hammering it heaps, to their credit. Dude, gerrymandering in the US is mental. They had... You know what gerrymandering comes from?
Yeah. I remember. It was. Remind me again. I do remember. It was one county, right?
Yeah.
And then that's where they redrew the borders, and then
Yeah, they redrew it to look like an L, and then some 1800s cartoonist made it look like a salamander, and the governor who did it was called Jerry, and they were like, look everyone, it's the gerrymander.
Pretty good.
And then they got laughed out of existence, and then that ended, and then modern day Republicans were like, why did we get
Stop
rid of that? That
doing
was
that.
cool. Like, we just kept going with it. And so everybody that's always, this is the other thing that the press is always putting up in front of Trump, which I think is actually the point that could favor him. You know how everyone's always saying like, Ron DeSantis is the future of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Look at how well he won.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to win if you draw up maps like that where it's kind of just like, yeah, okay, so there's like a bunch of Republican voters there, so we'll just run a thin line, and then there's a bunch of other Republican voters here, and that's Florida now. But Florida was always one of these swing states like Georgia used to be of like who's going to win it. And now every time they're like, oh my God, the Republicans have won every single seat available. How did this happen?
Yeah, but like
Democrats
that
do it?
was a swing state in the fucking 20th century.
Yeah.
Do Democrats
And
been a
then the
while.
Republicans started winning and they started gerrymandering it. And this is what's happened with Wisconsin as well.
do
You know what happened in
have
Wisconsin?
Have you seen people from Florida?
Yeah.
They do not vote Dems.
But half of them do.
Some of them do, but people from Florida are like increasingly Republican now. In
That
fact, not
might be
only-
the case, but
not
I
only are
honestly
they
don't think, like, if
Republican,
he wasn't...
they're MAGA Republican.
Well, see, this is the other thing that Donald Trump has that the rest of them don't, which is that people that are voting for Trump are voting for Trump. They're not voting for the Republican Party. So if you get rid of Donald Trump, you've deflated your vote by like 30%. So they can say, all right, his candidates that he was picking are too crazy. But if you have Donald Trump at the top of the ticket and he's the only crazy one, and then you have all these other boring Mitch McConnell types, you're in a much better position. So I think that's just it. It's just like he shouldn't be picking the candidates for the Republican Party. It should, but this is what I like especially about it, because all of that infrastructure to make the Republican Party more and more hollowed out and more just appealing to these very niche groups like your evangelicals and your gun nuts, That was deliberate, by design, by the Koch brothers. They've been doing it for the last 30 years, and they've been very successful at it. And they had almost a clasp control over the Republican Party. And then Donald Trump's pizzazz came in the last second and just stole all of that infrastructure. And then he just put in a bunch of hilarious daytime talk show hosts to just kind of just be like, he's kind of like a shit me, put him in. So they're kind of like in a catch-22 at the moment. I do really like that because I think that like the Dems are just kind of, they're in a safe place now.
But where is this like civil war between DeSantis and Trump going?
I just think that this is
will
what's
run?
going to happen.
Has Trump lost?
No, I think that the establishment is saying that, and Donald Trump's audience is not listening. They are not watching CNN.
Is his popularity dropping?
Yeah. But not amongst his hardcore voters that are going to come out for the primaries and just slam him in.
So you think he'll run?
Yeah, for sure.
Trump,
and he'll get it.
Trump has been like announcing that he's gonna run,
but he hasn't.
Yeah, but like, dude, I watched one of his interviews, and this is what he was saying. He was like, "You're gonna hear," because they kept asking him, "Are you gonna run? Are you gonna run?" President Trump was like, "You're gonna hear some really good news." I cannot make that announcement just now for tax purposes. You don't want to know. It's really bad. It's the system's really rigged. But I just want to say that had I not had that issue, I would make that announcement now, and it would have been very positive. And now when I do it, you're going to be happy. You're going to be very happy.
Man, you know what else I really like about U.S. elections?
No ambiguity.
No ambiguity. I love that when you watch your CNNs, your MSNBCs, and your Foxes, there's all these Hunger Games graphics in the background. When somebody gets elected, it's just like, and the governor from Michigan has won a second term. We can now confirm that. And there'll be like all this triumphant music being like, beep, 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 beep. Fireworks going on in the background. And then just like that real military drum playing. It's so epic. And it's just like, yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what, for an area of land that's the size of New England? But he gets this like, hail to the chief, does he, when he wins? And then in Australia, all that happens is you've got 5 or 6 fat dudes sitting around. Huh?
Just sausage sizzles.
Yeah, every time they're like, oh, I'm bored, where's your sausage? And then when it comes to when people are like winning or not, they don't celebrate someone winning. They're just like, yeah, and so the member for Greylander, yeah, he's been in for like 8 times. Yeah, just wind up the boot there, Barry. The Simpsons boot. The Simpsons boot.
The fucking boot.
That happens in Australia. We actually boot out the losers.
Dude, Australia,
keep the bastards honest. That's what I say.
Australia's better though.
I know what country I'm picking.
Yeah,
why?
Australia.
I'm picking America. I like the epicness of it.
But I like that here, like being a politician isn't something that's super revered. It's kind of like, you know you're scum though, right? It's like, yeah, I know I'm scum. It's like, good. Just make sure you know you're scum. I wouldn't be voting if there wasn't a sausage sizzle. You know? That's mad.
Do you?
Yeah.
So you're really not into the whole...
No, I'm into it for the entertainment value, but not for like a functioning country value.
So you don't think that that's good that people are respecting their public figures?
No, it's
like
good.
Even their like attorney general getting elected.
It's good, but they glorify it and they it's a caricature. You know, they glorify it and it's a caricature. I think it's not good to be like, because now every speech in America of a politician, it's just like, how many times can you say freedom? They're like, my opponent doesn't love freedom as much as I love freedom. This is a free country. We're built on freedom. That's why I'm introducing the freedom avoidance tax for people that don't love freedom or taxed higher. It's like, what?
Dude, how good is this? When they're introducing the infrastructure bill, to get that passed, they can't call it the infrastructure bill. They have to call it the China competition bill.
Yeah. And that's the Democrats. Isn't
that awesome? I love that about America.
It's insane.
That's cool.
The only way they can justify building a bridge that people are literally falling off, they're just like, well, there's no choice. We have to do
China's got a better bridge than us.
Exactly.
We can't let those damn chinks win on us. They're the greatest country on earth, damn it.
That's the only
but you
reason.
know-
That's cool. And then, you know what else?
No,
This
it's
is
dumb.
You know, today, I was trying to explain to Miss what the filibuster is, and I couldn't remember what the filibuster is called. And it's such an old-timey word. Like, that's 1800s America right there, filibuster. Couldn't remember it. And then Miss Love was trying to fill in the blanks, and then he was just calling it. You know what the filibuster is. For anyone who doesn't know, it's just you get to sit up, and as long as you keep talking and don't need a drink of water, you can keep going. And you can just hold up trillions of dollars of investment because you personally don't like it. You get elected to the Senate,
Kinda cool,
and then you'll go back to Arkansas or whatever, and they'll be like, "We love you, Bill." Like they're gonna really support you for like tanking the economy to get like a few extra dollars to your state. It's awesome. But obviously the Democrats want to do it because, again, this is how are they selling it? Why are they getting rid of the filibuster? They're just, again, framing it like that, just being like, I don't think that we can compete in the 21st century against China if we have this. This is just so inefficient. I mean, the Chinese can pass whatever they want, and we're just allowing this one guy from Massachusetts to do this? This is insane. You're saying that you hate America that much, sir? Yeah. That's how they have to pass that. But when I was saying that to Beers, and how much would this be what it would be called today if it was filibusters were introduced now? Freedom talk. Don't you think? It's just like that is modern America, right? That's Fox News influence right there.
Yes.
That the filibuster would be called freedom time.
Yeah, freedom time. You're restricting my freedom. It's insane. It's like
everything is just this rhetoric back and forth argument of just like, I think it's less free to have free time.
Yeah, no, it's like I think
everything
it's
just
more
has to be
free.
framed like that.
Yeah, it's not time efficient. It's like vague and like this ethereal thing.
You know where that comes from, right? So it's the idea is that you can't pass a law or you can't pass a bill without adequate debate. And so just this one concept is being abused by like, well, if adequate debate means that I can keep talking for 10 hours, then no one can pass shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're just like, they're killing time. That's all that's happening.
I saw like Ron Paul once say that point. It was so good. Because he talked for like 10 hours or something. No, Rand Paul. He talked for 10 hours and he refused to say that he was filibustering, and everyone was just being like, "You're holding it up, sir. Sir, you're holding this up. This is a." That he was just like, "I'm sorry, but I need 10 hours to point out just how bad this bill is. There are just so many bad things about it."
So fucking obvious.
The only bill worse than this bill is Bill Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. He probably said that
many times. He's got 10 hours to fill.
10 hours. That's a stand-up show I want to see. I'd rather watch that. That'd be better than Louis C.K. Just watching him
for
being
sure.
Like, and another
Well, I
reason.
think that you're onto a winner there. Mitch McConnell talking in the Senate is way better than Louis C.K.
Yeah, better than any stand-up comedian. You're not going to beat that.
How can you beat someone whose voice sounds like a low note on a trumpet?
All right,
Just
look,
the Colonel.
Before we move on from this and our audience gets annoyed that we're talking about America so much, Dr. Oz v. that other guy that won, but no one knows the name of.
Oh no, it's
What was
it's
that
the
about?
The homeless man on the train
what's
one.
his name?
He's won. That
he
homeless
won.
man.
I
Yeah,
forgot
the
his
homeless
name.
man one.
The homeless
Dude,
man.
didn't he make his announcement dressed in like worse clothes than I do? He had
also-
like board shorts on. He's wearing Hurley.
He also had a brain hemorrhage and a stroke. He can't speak.
Why do people hate Dr. Oz
How
so
can
much?
Dr. Oz be so distracted? He was on
don't
your
know how.
television for 20 years.
Oh, what's that guy's name? I gotta find.
And how can it be? This is the really embarrassing thing. It's not like a Georgia runoff or anything like that. It was called The Night. It was one of the first election nights to be called.
John
Apparently-
Fetterman.
Yeah, Fetterman.
You've got to look him up because he looks like if Adam Sandler was never successful and was aged 10 years more.
Yeah, and was related to Rasputin.
Did you know he had a stroke?
I'm not surprised.
Like people asked him shit, and
Dude,
they're
do you
like, "What do
know
you
who
think of this
should-
reform?" And he would just stare at him and be like, and he has teleprompters. He's like,
Dude, you know who should have a stroke? Dr. fucking Oz. How can that man...
I can't believe he lost.
Apparently-
I thought that was a shoo-in.
Apparently the news is that where Trump was like, okay, so Dr. Mehmet, that's his name, right? Mehmet Oz is definitely going to win this one. And then like the news comes in and it's been called. The first result of the night, Dr. Oz has lost. Apparently Trump flipped out.
Yeah.
And
Did he?
Like, he started screaming at Melania. He started screaming at
He
all
told
of his advisors.
Melania-
Just like,
and
who
Sean
came up
Hannity.
to me and said this
Dude.
was a good idea?
Dude.
Morons.
Dude, he went up to Sean Hannity, on record, went to Sean Hannity and his wife and was like, "I don't think it was a very good idea. Very bad advice from both of you." And Hannity was like, "I thought it was a shoo-in, Mr. President." It's like, "I'm not listening to you anymore, Sean." That actually happened.
Dude, who does he have in his inner circle if he doesn't have Sean Hannity? Who is he listening to? If that guy's on the out.
I don't know now.
Sean Hannity, Kanye, and Melania.
Yeah.
Kanye?
Yeah, I'm sure he's part of the
I
advising
think he
team.
probably talks to
Man,
to Kanye.
here's the question though. Would Kanye win a Senate position?
No, he would
Dude,
not.
not now. Not now.
What if it was him versus Mel Gibson?
Dude, you know what? Mel Gibson would win.
Because it's been too long. People forgive him.
It's been too long. And then Mel Gibson also has... I know what's happened. I'm not commenting on that aspect. But other than that, he looks like a trustable man.
Dude, he kind of looks like Karl Marx. I don't know if that's going to play well in the US
Did
Senate.
you guys hear Chappelle's SNL thing about Kanye?
No.
It's pretty funny. That's all I'll say about that. It was pretty funny. Like, cause he did that classic thing of like, it was like, oh no, he's gone too far, and then was like, no, but like, you know, it's fine. But like, it was pretty good. Like he was just like, I'm not saying that. he was like, if you call it a mob, if it's a bunch of Italians, it's a mob. If it's a bunch of black people, it's a gang. If it's a bunch of Jews, you don't notice it and don't talk about it. And then he goes,
Whoa.
he said that, and
on
then he goes,
Saturday Night Live.
what else he
Jew
said?
Central.
You know what else he
Let's not
said?
forget, Chappelle is a Muslim brother.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You know what else? He's
Yeah.
Muslim. You know what he said too,
I mean,
though?
fake Muslim.
How
but
good's
still.
this? And he was like, he was like, I've been to Hollywood, and I'm not saying, you know, anything about it, but you know, that place is a lot of fucking Jews, like a lot, like all Jews. I'm just like, how you say this is crazy? You're getting away with this shit on SNL.
So he said exactly what Kanye
Kind
West
of
said.
kind of worse.
How does he get away with it?
But then he sort of at the end of it was like, but obviously I love Jew, like, but like, it's like still I was like, damn, that's racy. That's racy as.
But surely Kanye in his ramblings at one point was kind of like, I'm not saying, like, Fiddler on the Roof was a good movie, man.
He did say
Like,
that, yeah, dude, he basically doubled down on what Kanye said. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
so what's the difference?
Not much.
Is it just because it's a joke?
I think that because you know what the difference is? This is what it is. It's not like Chomsky can say what Kanye says and it's fine because he can say it eloquently and he talks really slowly. But Kanye's hyped up and like bipolar and mental, and it's the delivery that's scary. He's like, motherfucker, and it's just like, whoa. But then, you know.
Yeah, I suppose Dave Chappelle's
he's
bit
very-
didn't include the phrase DEFCON
No,
3.
exactly. Like Chappelle's very charismatic and well even. So it's all about how you say something, not what you say. That's my latest take.
Well, yeah, you actually could be right on
I
it.
honestly feel
Apparently-
that way. Think
apparently
about it. It's
at
like,
the-
I
Yeah.
love you. What?
But
I
there's
love
also
you, you
there's
know?
a few SNL crew and
That-
writers that boycotted that
Yeah,
SNL show.
not crew. It was writers. All the actors stayed.
All the Jews, basically, boy.
No, but dude, it was
No,
the
no,
writers
no.
that were just like, I am taking a stand. It's like,
I think we all
Good.
know why you're taking it.
we don't want you to write the skits because SNL sucks. Like the actors were like, it's actually going to be funny
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
Dave wrote
yeah,
his
yeah.
own shit.
Yeah, just an hour of improv and Dave Chappelle. That is a huge improvement on the
SNL writers.
Mario sketch that they stole from me
You
and
heard
butchered.
it here first, exactly. Stolen from
Yeah, they did.
Friendlyjordies.
That's confirmed, right? They did steal it from.
No, it's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed, but,
there
like-
are a bunch of YouTubers I found out afterwards that are always saying, you cunt. You watched
has-
my...
Oh,
That's what... Yeah.
They do,
They do it
they
all the time.
would, they
Well,
would.
think
Of
about
course
how
they would.
low Saturday Night Live is.
and the amount of shit they have to churn out. There's
Yeah.
no way they're not like just being like, I'll just take a little scour on Ask Jeeves, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the
Ask
case.
Jeeves
And I know for a
specifically.
fact that, like, the Daily Show writers, even though this isn't a compliment anymore, but it would have been if it was 10 years ago, they watch my show.
That's mad. That's still mad. Come on. That's
So
still
if they're watching it,
Still
I
great.
mean, they're in New York, aren't they?
Yeah,
Jews
yeah.
talk to each other.
just everything just goes beep, deplatformed.
All right, look.
But yeah, anyway, I thought you'll have to say
We've
it.
had a few more segments, but the one that I keep getting on the chat is talk about how you cried after losing to England. So maybe I'll talk about that.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't. I was actually pretty zen. I was chill.
You'd have to be pretty zen because, let's be honest, you didn't deserve to be there.
You knew it was coming. though.
Well,
Yeah.
Shut
Oh,
the
you
fuck
didn't
up.
You were that was just being at a wedding that you weren't invited to.
Hey,
The best ones.
hey, do you know?
Yeah, well, it's a free meal.
Oh, dude, I've got to
And
tell
free
you this
booze.
story.
Oh, well, that's the best
Miss,
part.
I've got to.
In your world, for sure. Look at that.
Hey, they're both on par with me.
Miss, can I tell you this story? So
Did you drink all those carton dries?
I had one.
There's only one left in the fridge, right?
You had one.
Did I?
Remember? We celebrated.
Well, at least I had 1 out of the 6.
I don't think I
That's
had
a
that
good
many.
improvement on what I thought
Hold
it
on a
was.
second.
I don't
Miss-
think I had 5.
Miss, you've got to hear this story. So this
Yeah.
happened at the semifinal at the SCG when I was there.
Yeah.
So me and like 3 or 4 of my boys and like my brother Sanju, he was sitting right next to me, right? And so this was, in hindsight, a case of mistaken identity. Trigger warning for all Indians. I apologize in advance. So there was this guy. There was the 2 people walked in and they were sitting right in front of us. One of them was like a brown dude, and he was with his white friend, right? Just for context, I'll tell you. So every time, so this was Pakistan versus
Jesus,
New
why
Zealand.
does every Ali have a Jordan in this country?
I don't know. It just
What's
happened.
going on there?
It happened. But it's funny because this Jordan was actually really funny.
This Jordan.
This Jordan
Jordan
was
was-
fucking hilarious. So what happens is, Miss, so this guy, it was a case of mistaken identity initially. So what happens is every time New Zealand even scores a fucking single, this in the brown guy, he would get up and he would start dancing like they've just won the match. And I was like
Jesus.
I was getting a little fucking annoyed
It's a
by
long
it, right?
game. Yeah, I know
So
what
then
that's like.
so then this happens, right? So
Yes, you do.
so then I start heckling him from behind. So I go like, I initially say, all of these fake Kiwis, I'm saying this all in Urdu, right? All of these fake Kiwis can fuck their mum.
Holy
And so-
shit. Just a nice light heckle.
I'm sorry.
Can you say it in... I want to hear it.
सारे नकली Kiwis मच उड़ाएं.
Sare nakle kiwis machane.
Yeah, सारे नकली, all these fake music.
Dude, I don't feel sorry for CK getting heckled at all anymore. That's way harsher.
So then I realized after a certain point that maybe like he's just a Kiwi and he happens to be brown. But by then it was too late because I was so into it and I was really, really hammering. This is part of the fucking cricket culture in Pakistan too. I'm not proud of it.
No, heckling's...
What are you talking about? That's everyone.
That's same as Australia.
just
I
got-
hate how we got caught out for that.
yeah, but everyone does. It's part of the game.
Sledging. And so
It's
at
called
one
sledging.
point,
It's in the
Yeah,
game.
sledging.
at one point, right? So now New Zealand is losing, right? And Pakistan's winning. So I go, one of the new Kiwi players is he's an Indian spinner. His name, like he's brown, but he's Kiwi and his name's Ish Sodhi, right? So then I go and I didn't realize this was really going to bother him. I was like, oh my God, all of these Ish Sodhis have really chilled out, boys. And so as soon as I say that,
Holy
Miss,
hell.
Holy shit.
Miss,
You're ballsy,
he
dude.
looks back, he turns around, and he says he's frothing with anger from his mouth, and he goes, I understand everything that you have been saying. And so now I'm like, oh shit, maybe this is too much. But then I go like, bro, I'm talking about Ish Sodhi. I'm not talking about you. Are you related to him? Just because you're brown, you're going to look out for him? He's like, and then he looks at me again and he says, I understand everything. And then he starts looking forward.
Holy shit.
And after that, I didn't heckle him at all.
Oh my God.
By that point,
You tried to save it though, Ali.
I did. And at the end, and this is also a custom, at the end of the match, you go up to the person that you were heckling and you go like, look, good game. If you lost, then you say, well played. You were better
It
than
is the
us.
gentleman's
And
game.
Wait a
if you
sec.
lose, and you go like, it was a game.
Wait, New Zealand was playing...
Pakistan in the
Oh,
semifinals at
sorry.
the SCG.
And do you think this guy was Pakistani or Kiwi?
He was probably, at the time, I thought he was just an Indian guy who was being annoying.
That could have been it.
Because my brother went to the MCG and there was a lot of those. In fact, there was a bit of a struggle in his enclave between the Aussies and the Indians, actually. Anyway, so I thought he was just an Indian guy who was being a cunt. But in hindsight, he probably wasn't. He was just brown and he was Kiwi and he was just cheering for his team.
Right.
But either way, he was doing it in an annoying way.
Oh, that's
It was annoying.
But I wanted to, like, at the end of it, like, go up to him and be like, hey, like, I'm sorry, and, like, all well played and everything.
Call me
But he
Ishmael.
left early.
Oh.
He got up.
You
and he went,
ruined his
And
dad.
the last bit. So his white friend, his Jordan, at some point he realized that like we're really fucking with his mate, right? And so every time after that, if Pakistan scored like a 4 or 6 or got a wicket, he would turn his phone on and he would point towards the guy just to get his reaction.
I thought, Jesus.
So his friends turned on him.
He was heckling him. He was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
So his friend kind of was like supporting me. But anyways, look that. But
Dude, you're a funny cunt.
at the MCG, apparently this happened. So my brother went there. He drove there, and so there's like there was a lot of Indians that had bought tickets for. They assumed that India was going to play in the final, but India couldn't get qualified. So they tried to sell their tickets, but a lot of them couldn't sell their tickets. So they showed up, and their idea was that India's definitely going to be in the final. So they were all ready. They had like these massive flags, but India didn't come. So they were like, fuck it, we'll just do it anyways. So they show up to the England versus Pakistan game, right? So most of the public, most of the spectators are Pakistanis. Then there's a chunk of Indians who are wearing Indian jerseys and they have like Indian flags in their hands. And then there's Aussies, right, who are just watching there. Aussies were supporting Pakistan because anyone against the Palms. So every time England would score or something, all the Indians would like get up. This is according to my brother. All the Indians would get up and they would like start waving the flags. And then there was like animosity between the Pakistanis and Indians that happened. And so every time Pakistani would get wicket, people would start screaming, at least we got one, because they lost by 10 wickets. So but at one point my brother was saying that the Aussies got upset with the Indians, and he was saying this Australian dude was sitting right next to me, and he was like getting annoyed by like this massive Indian flag that would cover the entire view every time England scored. And so he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You aren't even playing in the final. And my brother was telling me this with ultimate joy.
Jesus.
Anyways, coming back to this point,
proxy for politics.
Yeah,
sport,
it is.
Yeah.
And anyways, and
Dumb
coming back to the
politics.
point that everyone was saying, yes, I was sad that Pakistan lost to England, but they made some pretty shit decisions. If you watch the match, I think their entire approach, initially, they made some wrong assessments. They thought it was a wicket because the England batting was so strong. They thought that they should probably get to 170, 180, which in hindsight was a dumb move because that pitch was not 180. It was at best 160. So if they had played conservatively in the batting, their bowling was good. Pakistani bowling is really good. And even with like a shitty 130 total, they almost won the game. And one of the fast bowlers got injured, so they couldn't go. So it was sad, but like it wasn't sad that I was crying. I was happy that they played. I was happy that they came into the finals. And next time around. Playing in Australia for subcontinent players, particularly Pakistani players, is very difficult, dude.
Why?
The pitch behaves differently over here.
Yeah, we have grass.
No, it's not. It's not the grass. It's like
Yes, it is.
It's the bounce. It's the bounce. So
Oh yeah, because we don't have monsoon season.
maybe whatever. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the soil, but Australian pitches are just really Australian, South African pitches are similar as well. So if a ball, once it hits the ground and it comes to you, let's say on your head in Australia, that same ball is going to come to your tummy in subcontinent.
Shit.
And so it becomes really difficult for Asian players to play in that. And then not only just that, it comes faster as well. So it's a difficult country for Pakis to play in, and Pakis have had a horrible record in Australia, except for in 1992 they somehow won the World Cup. So I was actually happy. I never expected them to be in the final.
I feel like you're just blaming the environment for having shit team.
In cricket, it matters.
It's a factor.
I'm telling you, in cricket, it matters more than other sports.
It is a factor. They're always talking about the pitch. They're always talking about the grounds. Like it is.
I know they're always talking about the grounds,
but not. I mean, all
like,
teams.
don't you think Shane Warne just killed it wherever he went?
Shane Warne.
But if you think about it, if he plays in Pakistan, all that's happening is he becomes
more deadly.
No. The ball is coming at you slower and lower. That's a lot easier to adjust to than higher and faster.
Shouldn't that advantage you?
It does.
Hurting a lot of cricketers.
It would advantage our fast bowlers because our bowlers are really fast. We've got
that's a good point,
bowlers
actually,
that are bowling at like 145 plus. So
But not good for batsmen.
Which is, but not good for batsmen. And the bowlers, the problem with the bowlers is they really need to like first understand how to bowl on these pitches. So they've got the goods. They can bowl really fast, which will be amazing for Australian pitches. And like that's why they reached the final. You take Pakistani.
Why don't they just do that thing in The Simpsons where they made the toilet go the other way, and they just make a cricket ground in Pakistan?
Some guy just commented that the bounce is different in Australia because of gravity. Like the gravity works differently in Southern Hemisphere. I don't know. If that's
Okay,
true.
we're really picking at straws.
No,
here.
I
Come
think
on.
that's fair. Plus,
I don't know if that's.
And they were jet lagged. You know what
but
it's
they're
like.
not going to change the fucking pitch for the
No,
team.
and that's the beauty of cricket. You don't need to. This is part of it, that you go into different conditions that are really difficult and you overcome it. That's part of it. England won the World Cup. Their conditions are different to Australia as well, which is why every time they come here for Ashes, they get their ass whooped by Australians because they're used to like low swinging pitches. And then you come to Australia, there's barely any swing. There's immense speed and bounce.
Man, why don't they just, if it's in Australia, they just say, yeah, okay, Australia automatically won. Now let's just see who, won one.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
People
That's
thought that, but Australia got out in the group stages. So sometimes upsets.
Yeah, well, it'd be
happen.
less humiliating for us as well. I think,
You just want to stop cricket. That's what you're saying. Like, end the sport.
kind of. It's just, I think we all know how it goes, right? Like, you can just fantasy football it, can't you?
No, it's all part
You
of
just
it.
kind of know, okay, this team's doing really well at the moment. Like, look at how fast they're going. You can just look at it on Zoom and say, yeah, okay, we D4.
Way to kill the fun of the sport. That is the most...
I think, look, now that I think about it, it's even more boring than real cricket.
Dude, you're just being like, we'll assume who wins. There's no game. I'll choose who wins.
Yeah, I know.
I'll flip the coin.
I'm just here for the commentators, frankly. And I am actually.
12th
Like,
man,
I like
12th
those
man,
guys.
yeah.
They're cool.
They're sick.
But
But
next,
I'm sorry,
Next
that's-
World
Hey,
Cup.
Ali,
Bad
who's
one.
the best cricket commentator?
Oh,
Aussies.
that makes me real sad. Shane Warne used to be one of my favorites,
Eh.
but
What
I
about the
think-
legend? What's his name? They're like, there's a great pitch today on the field.
Oh, he's dead now, Richie Beno.
Yeah, but he was the number one.
Was
Was
his
he?
voice was good.
Dude,
I think
he
maybe
spoke like this.
Michael Atherton.
Was he the one that was 22?
Yes, he was a legend. Right?
And that man was
Yeah,
just
he was-
permanently 80 his entire
Yes.
life, right?
He was
Yeah.
just
Well,
Johnny
till he died.
Carson when there was 4 of them,
Yeah.
But I think like maybe Michael
Great
Atherton
pitch.
from England is really up there because I like commentary that has like good analytical basis to it. I hate those commentators.
So you'd like my version of cricket then?
What is that?
It's just, yeah, okay, this guy's bowling fast, so let's not play the game.
No, but like I want someone to be like able to analyze the game and
Stop
explain
the
it
game.
and not just say obvious shit. Like
Yeah.
I hate.
Hey,
those-
let me ask you this. If Pakistan, for whatever reason, was into baseball, do you think that you would be into it as much as you are cricket? Or do you just think, it's such a hard question to ask though, but
No,
do you
I
think
would
it's a
be.
better sport? Because, man, I did
Baseball.
go to baseball and I was like, yeah,
Baseball's
this is
cool.
just Tame Impala versus waves of sport. Like, you've got a lot more flashing, you've got hot cheerleaders,
Yeah, but like
but the substance.
I like that
T20
metaphor.
cricket is similar to that. I actually regretted not taking you guys to the SCG because I think you would have really enjoyed that
I've been
experience.
to a few games.
No, but like you haven't been to like one of those subcontinent games. Like it's a completely different environment.
Right, no, I haven't,
Anyone that's
yeah.
watching this that went to the MCG or was at the Sydney Cricket Ground, you know what I'm talking about. It's a completely different environment. You're,
A lot of tablas. Is there a lot of
there's the Packy Hulk who shows up at every game.
What?
What is that?
I've got to show you a picture of him.
Oh my god! I didn't know there was
He
that.
paints
many of you
himself
here.
green.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's.
Oh
the
yeah, but
colour.
everyone that goes to like, if you're not wearing a KFC bucket on your head as an Australian, you
Yes,
get bashed,
yes.
as you should be. Don't you think? Or
Spot.
dressed up as Super
Or
Mario.
or a watermelon.
This guy
on
goes
your
to
head.
all Pakistani
You
games.
seen that?
No.
Hollowed out water helmet. Yes, that is hilarious.
That's fucked. That's a man.
Just Google Pakistani.
Man, you know what's really
Hulk
scary about him? That is
cricket.
better effects than the actual Hulk.
He's Aussie.
No, he's Pakistani.
But he goes to every game.
He goes to a lot of the games. I think he might
That
live
is
in Australia.
hilarious.
Anyway, so that's it. We lost. That's okay. Next year the World Cup is in India, which gives us a better shot of winning. But it also
I
gives
don't think it does.
the Indians
It's
a much better
temperature-
shot of winning too.
The grounds, temperature-wise, climate-wise.
Yeah, but they're just going to powder the ball in garam masala and make your eyes all watery.
Stop it! Don't be mean. It's
India.
similar. Indian conditions are similar to Pakistani conditions, obviously, but
Hey, wouldn't they be more rainforesty?
it depends what ground.
Not anymore.
Jesus.
Depends what ground, but no, they're still pretty dry.
Yeah?
Yeah, dry
So,
pitches.
all right. So, okay, you're versing Bangladesh. What about West Indies? Has it ever played in the West Indies?
So West Indies couldn't even qualify for the competition this year,
Oh, and the Dutch could.
and
That's
the Dutch.
sad.
That's crazy.
And that's just like,
That's crazy.
I could have qualified as a Dutchman.
yeah.
Fuck, the West Indies are
The
bad
West
these
Indies
days.
are good, but not this time around. Unfortunately, they literally couldn't even qualify, let alone losing in the group stages.
Sucked into them.
No,
They
but
must feel awful
I
about
feel like
that.
they're everyone's second favorite team.
West Indies.
Nobody hates the West Indies.
Yeah, they kind of are that, eh?
Well, the fact that they've got a nickname in Australia does give that a lot of credence. Because we only call them the Windies. I thought that it was India for so long because it was called Windies.
I didn't even know Windies. I just heard West Indies.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Oh, well, who'd have guessed Jordan doesn't know that much about cricket?
I'm sure it's a thing, dude. I'm just.
Anyways, should we call it a night?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
so.
all right. Make sure that you sign up to the Upload if you want to hear more about Ali's theories on cricket pitches
No,
that we'll be going into.
And
How
that's
the
it. That was the
bounce
last
dexterity of
cricket
the pitch.
episode. I am over it. As soon as now my obsession was midterms, but that's over too. So
Hey,
I'm gonna have to find something else now.
I said this.
election.
I'm getting good views on KFC. I think we should just do a KFC edition.
Hell yeah. What do you mean, like just about KFC?
Yeah, just what do you think about the Colonel?
I'll
I
tell
don't
you
know
about.
what
I'll
your
tell
guys'
you what I think
opinions are on
about
that.
KFC. I can't eat there anymore after I got all those messages. That's
Really?
Yeah.
I ate there the day.
Did you read the one about a guy taking a dump straight in the fryer?
Yeah. You know why I could eat there, continued on? Because that was clearly made up.
That's what you think.
You think, all right, guys, chat before we go, poll. Do you think it's possible to deep fry a shit in batter and then serve it to someone and then them eat it and be like, yeah, this is just a tender?
Yeah, not the end part.
I don't know.
Not the end part, but that's not what the story was. The story was he did a shit in the fryer and then quit. And I believe that.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
I could still eat there. Well, it's killed all the bacteria.
True that.
I'd eat the shit. It probably tastes pretty good.
All right, see you guys next week, and please sign up for the Upload if you want to.
Find out what's behind here.